Aye, if I don't listen to goth music, am I goth? If you don't listen to goth music, are you goth? Seems to be a question that's being thrown around at the moment, and people are looking at it and analysing it. I've looked at a lot of the videos and I don't primarily disagree with any of them. At the end of the day, there's quite a few different ways you can look at it. Is there a definitive answer? I'm not sure. Like lots of things in this life, they're multifaceted and there is never one answer to most things, to be honest. For me, it goes back to the old saying, which came first, the chicken or the egg? What the bloody hell's egg's got to do with it, you ask? Well, I want to throw one or two little bits into the works. Not spanners, because I don't want to mess anything up. I want to get people to think. And think, yeah, the way I look at it, is that totally right? Is it pretty much right? Is it a good surmise? How near the mark am I? Because, to be honest, we don't really know. There's no written down answer. Who were the very first goths? Now, lots of people are saying it, yes, it's a music-based subculture. I wouldn't sort of disagree with that. Some people say it's music-based, it's not fashion-based or anything like that. Goth is all to do with the music. I could sort of say, well, yeah, that's right. Is it? Or is that partly right? Is that right with other facets coming in? I can't say by the end of this that it's right. I can't say it's wrong. I can say, yes, it's a big part of it. And I'll show you where I'm coming from. There's no Bible, no Goth Bible. There's no history book. There's no real definitive history book of Goth. There's books that people write with their own ideas. I could write one with all my ideas. Some people would look on that maybe within time as some sort of definitive book if I put enough in it, and the people that read it and go, yeah, I like that idea, I'll follow that. So, but yeah, there isn't any written rules, there isn't any stone tablet you can go somewhere and go, this is the rules of Goth. There's nothing. As far as I know, there's no historical fact, there's no historical evidence of digging up records that was written by the ancient Goth. And what I mean by that is, there was punk. We all know that Goth is, in a sense, a subculture of punk. It was sort of born of punk. But it was also born of lots of other genres. Maybe punk was the stay at the beginning, but it pulled in lots of genres as it went along. Now, how did Goth come about? We can all say, well, it was certain bands. Maybe, was it? It was a certain group of people. Could it be? Was it? It was a club that started up. Was it? We can't really say for sure. Did 4 friends get up one morning, punk, get up one morning and say, do you know, bloody fantastic being punk, but there's music around, and I want to be part of that music rather than fully in this one. So, but if we do that, we can't really call ourselves punk, can we? What should we call ourselves? Should we call ourselves goth? Did it happen that way? Did it happen that 4 friends or something got up one morning and said, you know, I love all this scene I'm in, but I've got other ideas in my mind. I like it, but there's other parts of me. I've got a dark side. I've got this, that, the other. You know, how about if we sort of wore black, or a lot of black? What if we wore this, or we wore that? Maybe 2 or 3 things, and the mates say, yeah, that's bloody good with me. And it would evolve. It would very soon evolve. People would, hey man, I like your outfit. Oh, I want some of that. I did that with some of my dress. I like what they're wearing. I'm having that. So, did they wake up one morning and think, I want to go along a slightly different track of music? Did they wake up and go, I want to go along a slightly different style of dress? In the process of the different style of dress, did they, I like that music, I like that music, I like that, let's pull it in? And then a different genre of music was starting to take place. Or was it pretty much music, and as they were going along, different clothing got pulled in? So was it music based? Was it clothing based? I could go and say, yeah, it was that one. Somebody could say, no, it was that one. We don't know. The only people who can tell us are the ones that were there and were the catalyst of the change between punk and gradually going in. I look back at that time, and if you think about it, right at the very beginning, there wasn't a genre goth. So, however it happened, people and bands had to slowly develop into something else. Now, did goths, I know for certain that in the 80s, you went to a goth club, when they called it a goth club, you would see all sorts of different styles of clothing. There would even be different styles of music. Lots of the bands that were brought in from different genres. I remember over the years saying, this band, Goth. What? When the bloody hell did that happen? There weren't bloody Goth when I was around in the 80s. Where did that come from? This singer, Goth. That. So the goth community brought them in. Now you get people that go, oh, Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath, when they first come out, I can't ever remember them going under, oh, let's have a look, Black Sabbath, goth. As far as I ever remember, it was what you called in those days heavy rock. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne over the years has got very, very goth looking. I don't know, because I've never looked it up whether he's ever called himself a goth. Darkly inclined, heavy rock, metal, whatever. Is he goth? But he's very much looked upon that way. So, as it's gone along, all goths have gone, pull that bit in, I'll pull that bit in. Depeche Mode, this band, that band, Robert Smith, the this, the that. But if you go back, did they really start under the banner, I'm a goth band? As Robert Smith ever said, I am definitively goth. As Susie ever said, I am goth. But if you want to look back at the goth subculture, no one would deny they are their 80s goth. But again, was it all a process of it finding itself? If me and 6 friends tomorrow said, you know, goths don't particularly like us, they just call us darkly inclined, gothic, whatever, but you're not really part of this. So what do? Do we get together and we say, well, sod it then, what we're going to be called? Goths don't want us to be called goths. Well, it's what they say about gothic. We're gothic subculture. Find another word that means darkly inclined or something. But whatever we do, if we decide that tomorrow morning, then it goes from there, and then it goes from there by what ultimately us 6 are saying, what music are we having? Well, we'll have that goth one, we'll have that heavy metal one, we'll have this one. They all sort of fit into the dark, don't they? Let's have a bit of Meatloaf, he's on the dark theme, spooky vampire, blah. You'll decide what's coming into there, then you'll decide what clothing you have. Are we going to carry on very goth? Are we going to, in our mind, go ultra dress goth? Are we going to have makeup? Are we going to have ultra makeup? Whatever. But whatever, from then on, gothic is born. And as time goes on, each day, each week, each year, more is pulled in, more takes place. Probably 10 years afterwards, you've got something that you can call gothic. This is gothic subculture. When goth started, we'll say 1980, we'll just say that for a figure, 1980. You couldn't really say this is really definitively a goth subculture until, let's say, 10 years later. Now it didn't go from year 0 to 10. You could have done that somewhere along the line. It would have grown and looked more and more and more. But I remember, early 80s, seeing goths. Some didn't look goth. Some were the definitive goth. Bloody hell, they've come from hell. The typical stereotype, probably where the stereotype were born. Some look like punks. Don't care what anybody says. Lots, they just look like a punk. I've had, even now, I've had people when I just dressed in black with pendants, blah de blah. Before I was kilted goth, people knew me as the man in black. But I would be told, oh, there were some women at the bus stop the other day having an argument about you. One was saying, no, it's goth. The other say, no, Ian, it's punk. No, it's goth. No, it's punk. So you can see that there's always that thing there. Is it goth? Isn't it goth? But the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that right back at the birth of it, was it a musical birth, clothing adapted to the new strain, or did people wake up one morning and think, oh, the bloody dress different, and the dress different, still listening to punk, but slowly bringing in new wave and this and that, and just as feasible. So if you look at it that way and you say, well, sorry, you're not goth because you don't listen to any goth music. Well, in that respect, it didn't start off with any. If you say, well, sorry, you're not really goth because you don't dress goth, then you could say, well, sorry, it didn't really start off with any dress, it started off with music. So if you understand where I'm coming from, I'm still saying there's not a right and there's not a wrong way. I'm not saying that one's right, I'm not saying that one's right. There could be a third option, could be 4 options. But as certain as anything, nobody, whether it's one person, 2 people, half a dozen, whether it was half of a village or whatever, they didn't get up one morning and a big flash of light and God created goth. It didn't happen that way. It evolved. And that's where the chicken and the egg come in. Did it evolve from music to music? Did it evolve from punk to music? Did it evolve from punk to fashion change? The only people that know, that don't probably even know themselves, that they were the forerunner and everything evolved from them. Could, on the other hand, it could be a band that turned around and said, oh, it'll be a little bit different, and everybody started following them. Did they follow because the music was different, or did they follow because they dressed different? Again, or did half the people follow for the dress code, half of the people follow for the music? We don't know, do we? So when people say, yeah, to be honest, you're not really goth unless you listen to goth music, I can see that. I can really see that. And I think that's right to some degree. If you want to be goth, at least bloody making some sort of effort. Now, again, with the fashion, you can't say because somebody's pretty just on the fashion side of it, they're not goth, because of what we talked about. But it's one of those questions that people will be asking for eternity, because people say, oh yes, that's the answer, but no, we don't know if that's the answer. We can surmise if it's the answer. So what I'm saying is, we don't know. We can surmise music, we can surmise fashion. Why not let's put the two together? Because really at the end of the day, once that spark went and the modern goth started appearing, each day the music evolved. I want that band, I want that, what I like that type of music, I want this sort of music in the subculture. As that was happening, oh, I like that type of clothing, we'll have that in. I like those sort of boots, we'll have those in. Oh, I like the idea of wearing pendants, that will come in. Oh, what if we do things like buy dog collars and that and wear them? We'll bring that in. It didn't all come in on one day. It evolved. Do you get where I'm coming from? Goth evolved from the spark to today. It started evolving. attaching bits to itself. So if it was like a duster, as it went along, it was picking up bits of bloody dust from it. And it's still doing it. People still now, some people will say, that's goth, nothing swaying from it. Other people, lots and lots of people, as they go along, they're picking up bits and dust, like they did right at the beginning. They're still going, hey, I like that, pull that in. I like that as well, pull that in. Ah, vampire goth, yeah, pull that in. Medieval goth, yeah, you look pretty bloody good, pull that in. That looks good, pull that in. I like that music, pull that in. A new band comes out next week, hey, that's pretty bloody dark and that, innit? Well, we'll pull that in. So really, folks, we don't know, do we? Really. We can argue the toss, we do, but we don't. It sparked, and each day it grew, attaching bits to itself, still doing it. What was that spark? Was it a need for a costume change from punk or whatever, or was it a need for different type of music? Because bloody hell, a lot of punk inspired stuff is still within the 80s goth. And if you look at traditional goth, what people say, oh, you want to be traditional goth? Look at it, very punky. So it's always evolved. A lot of people seem to think goth went evolve, 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 stop. And probably at the end of the 90s or something, I don't bloody know, but somewhere it stopped. It hasn't. It's still evolving, it will continue to evolve. My kids will evolve it, my grandkids will evolve it, great grandkids will evolve it. What will it look like in 50 years' time? It'll still be around. What will it look like? Very much like it is today, very much like it was in the 80s, but there'll be a hell of a lot more attached to it. So there you go, folks. I'm not saying it's A, I'm not saying it's B, but I'm just throwing some ideas in. You can look at them and say, actually, it's a load of shite. Or you can say, actually, there's a bloody point there. Yeah, it did spark and then it just evolved. It did not happen overnight. You weren't that one day, that the next. You were something and you slowly went, come in, come in, come in, come in. I like you. You can be goth. You can be goth. And we're here. And on that point, I'm going to bloody go before you all start spitting at the screen. No, folks, I'm not being over serious, just giving you ideas to think about. That really those two things. Did we start off music? Did we start off fashion? Whichever one pulled stuff in as it went along. Because it did not bloody, nobody woke up the next day and went, goth, where the freaking hell did that come? It's Monday, it wasn't there bloody Sunday, but I love it. Have fun.